What up, everybody? What up, everybody? You are in tune to another episode of Marvelous Talk with your family. Big G, what's up, Big G?
What's up, what's up, what's up?
And none other than the one, the only, Dame. What's up, Dame? How you doing this week?
We bringing the shield home, baby.
We bringing it home, baby. We bringing it home. Listen, Linda, listen. We are here. We got episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But before we do, man, spoilers ahead. If you have not looked at this week's episode, make sure you stop what you're doing. Stop watching this. Stop watching us. I know we answer, but stop watching us. Go watch that and come back because we got some good stuff, man. We're definitely going to get into it. And as always, man, if you like the content that you see, please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Make sure you share with a friend. Please do that. Please do that because the content that we provide is here for you. Listen, this week's version of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm going to tell you, it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. It just keeps getting better, keeps getting better, keeps getting better. I told the guys, and I said this, and you can quote me, quote, I said it, Ahmad said it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier should be, it should be something that you should watch, and I'm talking required viewing for race relations. It absolutely should be. Malcolm Spellman, that's the writer's name, Dane. He has done a phenomenal job of tying the comics to real life, tying the story to real life, and then presenting it in the MCU. What do you guys think about that, man? Talk to me. Tell me how y'all feel about this one.
Oh man, absolutely. I mean, you said it. It's so much that's encapsulated in each episode, and I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that he does the entertainment aspect, but he also makes it relevant. And that's what you want entertainment to be. You want it to be real. You want it to be challenging to folks when they're watching it, and not just a story, but a story that leaves a lasting impact. So I think he's done an excellent job with Falcon and the Winter Soldier in bringing in the realistic stuff that people are dealing with right now today. And, people sometimes don't like that, but I'm sorry. You can try to avoid the truth all day long, but the truth is the truth until you deal with it. And that's what I appreciate him doing with the show, man. Hey,
no pun intended. Dane just gave you the name of this episode, and it's The Truth. The name of this episode is called The Truth. And man, listen, I'm going to highlight that during this show. The truth is the truth until you deal with it, and it's still going to be the truth after you deal with it. It just is what it is, man. Dang, that is so awesome. Big G, what do you think about that, man?
Man, I'm echoing what Dame is talking about too, man. And the whole idea that the show is called The Truth. You know, when you're dealing with the concept of the truth, you always got their side, your side, and the actual story is in the middle. And you see that concept throughout this episode and really throughout this series. You know, you have one side of people that's looking at it, okay, this is what used to be, versus the side of now what it should be. That's what the GRC and all these other different factors outside of race relations and everything else that's tied into the show. You got two sides fighting against each other, but the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I think that's where we're going as far as a concept and as far as the show. And for all of us to be able to get to a point to where we deal with truth, and like how Ahmad said, with race relations and everything else, we got to deal with truth before we can move forward.
And it's refreshing. That's all I'll say, man. It's refreshing to have these conversations inside of a community that normally doesn't have those conversations. I mean, you'd have to be blind to not see that all three of us are African-American, content creators for Marvel and, all things MCU and all things comic books. I mean, we are those guys, man. Definitely, we love what we love, and our representation inside of there has been bleak, but I really appreciate what Marvel is doing. And like I said, hats off to Kevin Feige, Mr. Spellman. You guys have done an awesome awesome job. But won't belabor the point. Won't get on that. We're gonna dive right into this week's episode. Man, listen. When I tell you, fake Make-A-Wish Cap finally got what was coming to him. I mean, he finally got after. So you see him running like the coward he is. I'm sorry. You see him running like the coward he is. Because, I mean, to me, the reason why I think you guys that he's a coward, the scene where, you know, he's in there, he's fighting, he get whooped by the Wakandans, get whooped by Ao and all in Io and the whole team of Wakandans. I mean, it was only like 2 of them, but it should have been like 12 because they whooped him like he was 12 with 12 of them in the room. This is what makes this man take this serum. I have to be superior. And Dame and Big G both said this. Man, listen, when I'm not winning, I gotta cheat. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically how he feels about the whole situation. And the foreshadow from his deceased partner is real. He said the serum only makes you more
of what you already are.
That's real. This man has became straight up crazy. I got to kill this man with 2 people. And, you know, basically you see him running and they follow him to this warehouse. And, man, when they get him to this warehouse, you know, here he is, he's kneeling. He's having the flashbacks. Al Bundy. You know that? I mean, I can't at this point. You know, this wasn't even super soldiers.
Stop.
It's really getting on my nerves, you guys, at this point. But, you know, they follow him, and here we go. We got this big fight scene, and he stands up, and, you know, he's definitely like, you don't want to do this. Like, I'm cold. I just took some serum, and y'all, you don't want what you're asking for.
Man, he was like a big baby. Like, mine. It's mine. It's mine. I'm like, really, dude? Like, really?
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, you don't want what you're asking for, you know, because I'm bad. I done took this serum. Yeah, he done took the serum, you know. He took it. He took it. But what else he took? He took an L. They hung a giant L on his head at this point, you know. And this is the point where, you know, he's going at it with Bucky. Now, here's what you got to know. Bucky is not a novice at fighting with the super soldier serum. So this whole scene, this whole fight is phenomenal. And Sam can hold his own.
Yes.
Period, point blank. You got to understand, Sam fought Thanos, bro. He was fighting aliens. You know, for you to act like Sam can't deal with you, you know what I'm saying? When you a Craigslist version of Captain America, this man is awesome.
Halloween version.
Yeah, you dressed up in a Halloween costume. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Dave, tell me what you thought about this whole fight scene and him getting his arm broken and they basically knocking him out, using him like a baseball bat. What'd you think?
Well, it just came down to how, like you said, he's deceived into thinking that he's something that he really isn't. That's what really jumped off at me. I mean, like you said, you're dealing with, you know, vets, man. These dudes have been doing this for a minute, and they've been fighting much harder and much more stronger people than you. And you're going to come up here thinking that you're going to beat them both when you just took the soldier serum like 2 minutes ago? I mean, come on, dog. You know, come on, man, really? But it's his man, like you said, I think he's really gone off his rocker because he's convinced that this dude killed Lamar, and the dude did not kill Lamar. We saw it was Carly, but he's made up in his mind to justify it. And the dude, even when he's killing him, he's like, it's not me. It's not. That then went completely out of Walker's equation. You are the one I'm gonna kill because somebody gonna pay for it. And he's deceived himself to believe that lie. And it's not the last time we're gonna see it, but it's just like I said, he has lost his ever-loving mind at this point.
Ever loving.
Man, so listen, so this is really like sort of deep cutish to the comic book, man. You know, for a lot of folks that don't understand, U.S. agent was born out of the concept of a super patriot. Super patriot is the first time you actually see John Walker. When they developed the story from Captain America about number 323 all the way to about Captain America 335 on the original storyboard run, a U.S. agent, John Walker, Super Patriot, was crazy, for a lack of better words or better term, from the beginning. He always was antagonist and always felt that he was better than everybody else based on being a blue-eyed, blonde-haired soldier that thought he was better. He even had multiple Buckies, which one of the Buckies turned into Battlestar, and they actually changed the name from Bucky to Battlestar to kill like the racial lines with it. But he's always been that type of character that's deep and dark, and all his roots are tied to just doing whatever he's got to do to be on top. And it doesn't matter who dies, it doesn't matter who gets hurt, as long as he's the guy that's shining, he's all for it. They even stage stuff in the comic book. They stage it in the comic book to make him look like he's shining. So you know, this is like, to me, deep cut MCU's way of showing us really like what's really in the comic book. You know, to me.
He reminds me of Anakin Skywalker. You can finish your point. I just want to say, when you were saying all that whining and stuff, yeah, he reminds me of Anakin.
Good point.
You did it to me. You
made me.
Yeah, but I mean, in the comic, that's really what it is. What it was. He was shining. That's all it was about. I'm telling you, the Buckies were guys that got enhanced by the power broker. Ooh. So they got enhanced by the power broker to make U.S. agent or Super Patriot look like he was better than Captain America. That's what the whole storyline was about. So, I mean, you're literally seeing that, and Marvel put a spin on it. But this guy, I mean, he even says, I am Captain America. I am. It's me. You know, and how dark and twisted is that? Where he's not representing the thing of what he is. He's saying he is the thing. So yeah, this guy is something else. You know.
Listen, and this is what I've been saying this whole time. You don't have the character to have the power that you have in your hand. Anytime as a youngster or someone who, you know, they get something that they didn't have to work for, abuse is inevitable. And if you don't know what it's been used for and what it's supposed, something's original purpose, then you're definitely going to use it for something that wasn't. Like, the shield is not used to kill, it's used for protection. Right? Captain America's always used it as protection, but because he don't understand that thing's original purpose, all he wants to do with it is destroy and kill. You know what I mean?
Well, to toot my own horn, if you don't mind, for a little bit, I think if we go back to episode 1 when we was doing a review, I think I prophesied that we was gonna get to this level. but no, it's, I mean, you could kind of read the tea leaves, y'all. I mean, you already knew this dude came out like my man say, Al Bundy style, you know, that little pose at the end of episode 1, and we knew, man, who is this dude? So we were destined to get to this road, man, because one of the things that we have to remember, Steve Rogers chose the right person to carry that mantle, and sadly, it went down that road. But you can't escape fate. Whatever your destiny is, you can run from it, you can hide from it, but eventually you're gonna collide with it. And then at that point, you got to make a decision, which I'm glad that it looks like Sam is finally embracing. But yeah, man, it's, you know, it's progressing to, well, I'm just ready for that finale. But we got a lot more to cover, I'm sure, on this show that we got to go through. So,
man, my God, you know, I mean, it just, now, here's the thing that I just was super excited about, and it really blew my mind. This really blew my mind, man. Seeing Torres and Sam had the conversation that they had. Sam, you know, Torres said some old halfway wise stuff, and you know, then you had the exchange between Sam and Bucky again, you know. But Torres, we already know Big G kind of hit us off in the very beginning, said that Torres in the comic books becomes the new Falcon, while Falcon becomes Captain America. And in this exchange, well, during the fight, that happened with Make-A-Wish Cap. You know, Make-A-Wish Cap pulls off his wings thinking he was doing something. What you gonna do now? You can't fight, you can't fly. Well, yeah, he found out. You know, he kind of put that shield up across your head and knocked you out. You know what I'm saying? They just, you know, it was something else. But the interesting thing, as Sam is leaving the room, he tells Torres, Torres asks, what do you want to do with these? He says, keep them. Now, the reason why that resonates with me is, if you remember, he was trying to fix Sam's tech in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it lets you know that he has some type of mechanical experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a little breadcrumb. This is a breadcrumb, I believe, that's leading us to something else. Dane, what do you have to say about that?
Hey man, that was a deeper. I mean, true. What you said was awesome. But what I got immediately from that, you know, Falcon is prouder than wings, man. That's been his designation. That was what he told Captain America, man. When they go, hey, Captain America needs me, and he needs me in my role as somebody that can fly these wings. For him to forsake them wings, pick up the shield, that was speaking volumes to me, because it was basically saying, I'm letting go of the old to embrace the new of who I am.
That's right. Yeah.
So that just was like, I got so hyped, man, because I was like, dang, Sam, you finally seeing the light, man. That, hey, he was like, if this dude who y'all wanted to be Captain America failed, it's up to me now to do it the way it's supposed to be done. So that's what I got out of that scene. Big G, what about you?
Oh, for sure, man. And, you know, trauma, and throughout the MCU, we've always seen when trauma is introduced, people change. And like that was the climatic battle between Bucky, Falcon, and the wannabe Cap, you know. And he was like, look, I got to be the one. But, you know, something else I picked up on, that, you know, the Marvel producers and stuff, they don't waste nothing. So this was almost like a throwback to Iron Man 2, when Tony Stark got the second set of iron, and then the silver iron was sitting on the side, and the War Machine, who was really Howard, the actor Howard, it wasn't Don Cheadle first. Yeah, and he was like, next time, baby, next time, baby. You know, and that was really like for like War Machine. So I almost felt it was like the passing of the mantle from Falcon to Torres to say, hey, it's all you now, dog. You got to handle yours. And guess what? I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you.
Well, I mean, you see that they're building this kinsmanship, this friendship, and he's counting on Torres. The whole time you see him counting on Torres. And then, you know, of course, like I said, you had Bucky, you know, kind of left. And Bucky really, during this time, after the fight, Bucky didn't say nothing to Sam. He just kind of threw the shield down and walked off, like, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in the black family, take this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, walked away. And you know, definitely he came back in the room with Sam and Torres. Didn't say much, and he said, "You out to find Zemo?" He was like, you know, he didn't even really say yeah. He was like, you know, a nod and walked out the door.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
Thing after this, we go to the court martial. Now, something that I found super interesting. I got to look at it, and from everything, right? Isaiah went to save people in the Captain America uniform, brought him back, got court-martialed, and put in jail. This man rode up to his court-martial in his military garb and started hurling out instructions and literally walked out the court. Walked out. They wouldn't even finish talking to him. He walked out. So you can see the difference on how these situations, and make up your own mind how you see it. But there's a difference in the same situation. Both of them acted rogue. Both of them went outside. But get this. One of them was an international incident. The other one was just an incident with one country. One country. So this man went and saved lives for his country and got jailed. This man killed somebody from another country and walked away scot-free because of his record. What do you guys think about this scene, this whole court-martial scene, before we get into the big reveal? But talk to me how y'all felt about the court-martial scene.
The indignation, the arrogance of not even accepting responsibility for what he did. You know, that's what got me, man. I mean, really, dude? It's like, you gonna go there, and then he's gonna blame it on the government. Y'all made me. But no, nobody made you kill somebody. That was your decision. You took that in your hands and you committed that offense. So for you to blame them because you killed somebody and you did it, you know, so I just thought that was really, it once again just goes to show you how these super soldiers. This just goes to show you how batty the dude is upstairs, man. He's gone. And then he's yelling. I mean, like you said, Maud, he's sitting there, you know, these people are, you know, they can declare your future, you know, whether you go to jail or not. And he's like, no, you're going to listen to me. He's like banging on. I'm like, wow, dude. So, yeah. Big G, it's on you.
Man, definitely, man. It's a throwback to the sort of the times we live in, and like how Mod said, you can get your own idea or thinking like about the differences between racism and privilege and wanting to have and not have, but it just ties true to the character. You know, a super patriot, U.S. agent, fake Captain America. I mean, this guy's got more names than you can shake a stick at. But the trueness of him, or the trueness of the nature of the character, is he thinks that he's better than anybody else, and he cannot lose under any circumstances. I mean, that's all the way back to the football scene where they show him in the locker room and he's touching his locker, touching his number. Because at that time, he was under the ideology that I'll do whatever I got to do to win. And so this is just feeding that persona, feeding that person. And you know you can create a monster, you know, by feeding persona, feeding personality, and not dealing with what you need to deal with. And so even like at that moment, like you said, he banged on the table, yelled and screamed. Let me tell you my side of the story. You don't have enough information or enough evidence. You know, it almost reminded me of that scene with Jack Nicholson. Boom, you can't handle the truth. Boom, you can't handle the truth. It almost reminded me of that, where he thinks he's above the law. He's above justice. He really does believe. And then, like I said, the culminating part, which I said earlier, is he says, I am Captain America. And the government says, oh, no, you ain't.
No more.
Not no more, you ain't. But he still thinks he is.
He still thinks he is.
So that whole privilege, thinking you're better, man, that stuff is a trip, man.
And you know, the funny thing about that is that he even tells his wife, they don't know what it takes to be Captain America. You don't know.
Right.
You have no idea of what you didn't have to earn the mantle. It fell on you. They chose you, right? But you weren't ready. You weren't ready, man, and you weren't ready. It's some whole thing. So now we got, you know, him crying and he walks out, he pouts out the courtroom, and you know, Wyatt Russell, man, literally, you're playing your part. So it's nothing about you. It's your character we don't like. Okay, we don't like your character. The character that you're playing, not the character of your man. We're talking about the Agent Walker. We talking about him, John Walker, Al Bundy looking Walker.
You know what's interesting? They actually had an interview with Wyatt, and they asked him, was, you know, he in any way, did he have any characteristics to John Walker? And it was refreshing, and I was glad to hear him say that he's absolutely the total opposite of John Walker as a person. So that was good and very refreshing to hear.
Yeah, man. I mean, for real, you know. But we come to this scene, you know, where he's sitting down and he's talking, and you know, he's talking to his wife. And as he's talking to his wife, this person walks up.
Elaine. I mean,
no.
This person walks up, and this person says, "These boots aren't made for walking." That was one of the most funniest things, lines that you could have ever got out of this one. I loved it. But the gist of the matter is she comes up and she introduces herself with this long name. We're gonna let G tell you what that name is. What the name was again, G?
Contessa Valentana Allegra Fontaine, or Val for short. Deep cut comic book. We'll get to it.
Yeah, pretty Ricky Fontaine is what they call it.
Oh yeah.
But definitely she comes up and now here's a couple of things you need to notice. One, his wife is right there, right? His wife's right there. She sits in between him and his wife.
I didn't get that.
I did.
Disrespect to the umpteenth power. Even turns and hands his wife a card without even looking at her. You know what I'm saying? Basically, ain't he? And this man says nothing. He says nothing. This feeds into who he is as a person, you guys. You got to notice this.
Yeah.
Anytime that something benefits him, he's all in. And doesn't care really about the people around him. The people around him to make him feel, or to like Big G just said, to powder his ego, to puff it up, to push up his ego and push up who he is. Oh, I'm Agent Wow. Oh, I'm Captain America. I am Captain America. Oh, it's so great. And basically the people around him are that, right? And she's even coming in. Val is coming in. We're gonna call her Val for short because she got 12 names. Val is coming in and she's like feeding his ego. Man, we're so glad that you took that super soldier serum. We are happy that you did it. You made yourself useful to a whole bunch of different people, and you made two great decisions in your life. One was taking that serum. No, she said one was taking the serum, the other picking up the phone when
I call you
was carrying this woman behind me, basically. And that was the first time that she even acknowledged his wife. Man, how did y'all feel about this whole scene? How did y'all feel about, other than the reveal of Elaine from Friends? I just saw her dancing.
Seinfeld, bro. Seinfeld.
I saw her dancing. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? But anyway, how did y'all feel about this moment, man? Talk to me.
Oh man, shady, just like, in my mind, I'm thinking power broker, agent, or you possibly could be the power broker. I don't know, but yeah, she has a air of mystery about her that I'm sure they did that on purpose. I'm sure we're going to definitely, in fact, I've read about this character that we're going to see a lot more of her in the MCU going forward. So yeah, I don't know, man. I want to know what's on that card, number one, because they could not decipher what was on it. And number two, what she's calling him with what information to give him. So those are the two things that, I took away from that exchange that I want to find out and get resolved.
Yeah, man. Big G is the comic book guy, man. So when I seen her hit the screen, I lost it. I was like, oh my goodness, they done waited till episode 5 to bring this deep cut of a character into the MCU. Oh my goodness. But just about Contessa, she's got a lot of different roles. Like how Maud says she got a lot of names. She plays a lot of characters in the Marvel comic book land. And for all those comic book heads that watch our content, her first show up was Strange Tales number 159 in 1967. So she's been around for a long time. She had a one-time strained relationship with Nick Fury. She was known at one point as Madam Hydra. She was a huge part of the Secret Invasion comic book line because her character got taken out, which was she was a Skrull. She was a deep cut part of the Dark Reign comic book, where Norman Osborn had control over the whole United States government and military. She was even at one time Agent 14, which goes right along with Sharon Carter as Agent 13. So this lady has got some depth to her that I think we're in for a big treat. But I'm glad that she tied into this point or this segue, because I'm a true believer that we're going for the Thunderbolts. I think the Thunderbolts is coming, and I think this lady is all behind the Thunderbolts. That's just my call, you know. Or maybe who the power broker is, who it might be Zola. Zola. A call back to the man.
Zola in the box.
Zola, man.
He put his consciousness in the computer, so he around. You know, the gist of the matter is here, man. I don't know who she is. Just like Dave, I don't know who she is.
It's a mystery.
But and I'm with you, Big G. The fact that they brought her in this late in the game means that she has a lot to do with different things that are going to happen moving forward, right? She's not just a in and out character like Lamar. Lamar was an in and out character, which is why he got brought in so quick, but he was a support character. Because you got to think about it. I'm not even gonna go down that route, but just think about it. Cap and Sam, fake Cap and Bucky. Just look at the aesthetics, and then you think and you build the rest. I'm just gonna leave that there. Here's the next scene we see is Zemo at the memorial, right? He's in Sokovia. And definitely, I think he was telling the whole time, see, here's Zemo has a plan. Y'all think Zemo just got caught. Zemo just didn't get caught. Let me explain to you. Zemo is a mastermind. This brother has been pushing buttons from behind scenes for a long time. The only thing he did not create himself was the opportunity he got from Bucky. That when Bucky went to get him out. That was the only thing he did not do, but he had everything else planned out. It was all planned out. From the time that he used Bucky to kill King T'Chaka. You know what I'm saying? He's been planning for a long time. And people who play the long game don't tend to do anything by chance. Nothing just happens. I mean, he even said it to the person that they went to go see in Madripoor. He told her, he said, people like us always get out. There's always a way. You know what I'm saying? Because
he's a child after Kevin Feige's own heart. He's playing the long game.
The long game. Me, Big G, and all of us here at Marvelous Talk have a theory that, it's shaking the internet because I know it's shaking us. Definitely, it's a real theory, but we won't get into that right now. So he says some things that I thought was really good. Zemo said some things to Bucky, and this whole scene to me meant a lot, right? He told Bucky, he said, she's been radicalized beyond rehabilitation.
Beyond salvation is actually what he said.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He said, I tried to tell Sam that, but he kind of hard-headed, just like Steve before him. In other words, he got that Steve on him. I can see that Steve on him for real. What he said, he got that Steve shine on him. He different. He cut different. He really do care about people. He really do love people. He would rather save people than kill them. He would rather save people or redeem people than totally take them out, i.e. Bucky, which is the reason why Bucky was there. And consequently, one of the reasons why Bucky came and did what he did, because he wanted to show the reason why he went ahead. People ask, why did he just go ahead and shoot the gun? Why did he shoot the gun? Was it for an effect? No, he shot the gun for himself to prove he's not who he once was.
Absolutely. And
then also he let the bullets go to prove to Zemo, hey, this your one. I'll let you go. This is my real.
Oh yeah.
I'm letting you go.
I
really took you out, but I'm not. And guess what? I'm gonna leave these ladies here to take care of you. Now, I'm gonna let Dame them talk about this, but I had to say two things about Bucky at this point. Bucky like black women. We can try any kind of way. There's some tension between Ayo and old Buster's that definitely just it jumped off the screen, and Bucky started smiling a little bit too much when he see Io and Sam's sister, which we'll get to. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, brother, like mocha in his coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he started smiling a little bit too much. Then the other thing is, she said something. She refers to Bucky as White Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
She said something that hit me like a ton of bricks. She said, "Make yourself scarce from Wakanda for a while." You going back to Wakanda? When are you going? How are you? So if she's telling
bro, listen to this. That means he's been in and out of Wakanda a lot.
That's what I'm saying. If she's saying make yourself scarce, she's saying, hey, you've been coming around, so make yourself scarce. Now, have he been tipping around Io's?
Maybe going to see Shuri too. You never know. But no, man. I mean, it makes sense because they set the brother free. So I mean, it's like a second home to him. So why wouldn't he? You know what I'm saying? It makes a whole lot of sense because this is the place. If you think about it, he got set free. He, before the Infinity War stuff was going on, he was at peace, man. He was really becoming who James Buchanan Barnes all over again, a whole new him. So it makes sense that he'd be hanging out in Wakanda or staying with Wakanda. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah, deep comic book run, man, Dane and Mod, for real. The White Wolf is a huge character. The White Wolf was basically second in command behind Black Panther for a season and for a run in the comic book. So this dude has been in Wakanda helping T'Chaka, helping T'Challa, helping whoever he needed to help to get through whatever they needed to get through. So, him making himself scarce is telling me that he's got a huge part in Wakandan lore that we're probably going to see later on. Because she never calls him Bucky. She never calls him Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
she never calls him James Buchanan. She always calls him the White Wolf. So that's not by accident.
Yeah, I think that's to honor their king because that's what T'Challa called him. So I think she's just honoring that's who their king proclaimed him to be, and it's almost like a title of reverence. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing that I would say, the importance of that statement, if you think about it, is this brother set free the dude that killed their king, T'Chaka. So, man, I wouldn't want to be going there. Like, dude, really? All that we did, like she told him when she first saw him, like, dude, all the stuff we did, we got that soldier, programming that Hydra put off of you, and this is what you're gonna do. So that's why it's probably prudent that brother don't show up anytime soon.
See, the funny thing to me is that you're right. She only called him James one time when she cussed him out, and she did that PlayStation move on his arm. She said, "What is it, James?" Whoa, wait a minute. What was those words you said before you said his name? I need to know. See, I was thinking translate that because I want to know what she said to him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that it just didn't sound good. It sounded like when you're getting a spanking and your mama talking to you watching. That's kind of like what that felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She called him his government name. She called him his government name, James. She ain't say nothing else. She said James.
But the beautiful thing, as they're heading off and they're taking him to the raft, we find out they're taking him to the raft, which we know who at the raft. Thunderbolt Ross is running the raft. But the one thing that she dropped, that little nugget, my man Bucky said, "Yo, before you leave, I might need a favor."
Need a favor.
Might need a favor.
Yeah. And we're gonna talk about that favor here in a minute. Definitely. So when we get back, the next scene we see is Sam, and Sam is walking in the dark, and we know it looks like Isaiah Bradley's neighborhood. Now, let me talk to y'all about something. This kid is super cocky.
Yeah, Elijah.
Super cocky. Now, y'all need to read between the lines, people. Hear us. We have a comic book guru in G, and we got somebody who likes to deep dive, and Dane and myself. So we know who this character is going to be, right? But he's talking really brass. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'll be back there in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, look here. Hey, don't think it's sweet. You know what I'm saying? I got this. Don't make me come out of character on your behind. So
yeah, and he's like 15. He's like 15. You know, it's not like he's, 20, 21, 22. He's like 15. And he's talking cash money at 15.
Money. Like, you don't want this. And I love it. But, I mean, definitely, I just want y'all to read between the lines. There is some foreshadowing happening in that conversation. The funny thing is when he comes, he said, Isaiah was like, is that what I think this is? I don't, and Sam's getting ready to take it out, and he's like, no, I don't even want to see it. It did nothing good for me. Now, he had a conversation with him, and he starts this conversation. He said, man, don't start that bitter black man stuff with me. He said, you see it. Every black man sees that he's invisible, or the invisible double standard, that is prevalent in the country. And he said, oh, should I go? And he went into talking about the Red Tails. Now, if y'all not history buffs, the Red Tails were a group of black pilots that had their way in which World War was it? Was it World War I or II?
I think it was one. It was one.
It was World War I. It was the 332. The 332, man. World War I.
For those of you that have never seen it, George Lucas, Star Wars fame, George Lucas made a movie called The Red Tails. Excellent movie. Excellent movie. Terrence Howard that we just talking about is in it. So
outstanding movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he talked about the Red Tails saving their country, but coming home and having crosses burned in their backyard. This is the duplicity of the world and the nation that we lived in, celebrated on one front, talked about or condemned on another. Celebrated for what you've done, but actually put down for who you are. We'll celebrate and champion your culture, but we don't want nothing to do with you. It said, and this is the invisible thing that Isaiah is talking about as he's talking to Sam. So you have two groups of African-American people having a real conversation. This is just not dialogue, you guys. You got to get into it. And the writers are very intentional. This is why we do Marvelous Talk. Because we don't just want, I mean, we could get on here and just talk about what happened and it'd be good, but we want to break it down so that you understand it and that you get clarity. So they're having this conversation about the invisible man, so to speak. And that's a book. If you ain't read that, that is a book. You need to check that out as well. They're having a conversation about the invisible man, and Isaiah is telling him, he said, man, what went wrong? Sam asked him, he said, man, what went wrong? What happened? Talk to me. And he started telling him about how hurt he is behind his life being taken. And for what he did, once again, like I said, he went to go save lives. And when he got back, his was taken. He went to go save a country, but when he got back, he had no country. And he did nothing wrong except save lives. Right? So his life, his wife was taken from him. That was his everything. And basically, he made a statement, which I thought was one of the dopest statements I've heard in the world in a while. He said, they've erased me, but they've been erasing us for 500 years. And you have to understand, that's been taking place in a lot of history is written by the victors. If y'all don't understand that, history is written by the people who win or by the people who conquer. So they write out a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff has been written out of our culture, which is why the Bible even says it like this: study to show yourself approved. You have to go and look into these things for yourself so that you can know. And listen, not trying to get philosophical. I just want you guys to understand, man, look, this is a real conversation happening. I'm going to start with G. G, what did you hear when you heard from the time he pulled up with the shield to the time he left? What did you hear in that conversation?
Man, the ironic thing about the show is that after the show premiered on Thursday night going into Friday afternoon, I sat down in the middle of a conversation between an elderly black man that I'm related to and a younger black man that I'm related to. And I was like the Sam character in the conversation. And I heard some of the same remnants and same sentiments that went on in the conversation between Isaiah Bradley and Sam Wilson, literally right there in front of my face. I heard the bitterness, the anger, the disrespect, the rage, the hurt, and the pain on one side, and I heard the optimism, the care, the concern that things are going to get better and things are going to change on the other side. And I'm sitting there in the middle of that conversation, and I'm like, man, the show could not have been more real life than actually what's taking place. Because so y'all know, those people that follow us are marvelous. We deal with real life concepts. You know, it's not just a show. This is to help us deal with some of the things that have happened in our community. Because for y'all that don't know, there was just another black child that was killed in Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, just a few days ago. So this outrage in our community of how do we deal with police brutality, injustice, and just overall how we're treated is a real live conversation. So to have that and me sit down in the middle of it, I can't front. I became emotional. I actually started almost felt like how Sam felt in that scene where he sat back and he was choked up because I was feeling it at the time of I could feel like what was going on. And so I think as us, as just not just the people, but as a society as a whole, we gotta have the conversation that Sam Wilson had with Isaiah Bradley, with older people and with younger people, to try to bridge this thing back together, man. Because there's a lot of hurt and there's a lot of pain out there. And Isaiah Bradley was dismissive, man. He was dismissive because he's like, nothing's going to change and I don't care what you do. And every time we try to bring him back to the real and the reality, because Sam said, man, I know a lot of people. There's some things that can happen and change. And I'm telling you, in the context of my conversation that I had with these two people, I was given the same reasoning. Like, I know people, there's ways to help. He wasn't trying to hear it. So I'm telling y'all, y'all think this is for play, but there's a lot of real deal stuff that's outside of the world of entertainment that's coming home. And we really need to talk about this stuff, man, because there's a lot of people hurting. A lot of people hurting.
What do you think, Dan?
Man, G said it so eloquently. I don't have a whole lot much to add other than, one thing that I've said is that people have these issues because they're not willing to face realities, or they want to create their own realities and ignore what's right there in front of them. And I've heard so many excuses about why people should let stuff go. Well, have you been one to bring reconciliation? Have you been one to reach out? Then okay, but to just say, oh, just forget about it and move on, that's convenient to say when you haven't had people that have, me and my wife talked about this all the time. Our generation, my current generation, my wife and I, 70s babies, think about it. And you guys even too can relate to this. We're the first generation in our family who understands what integrated school systems are.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mom went to a segregated high school, and that's one generation prior to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So hey, y'all need to get over this stuff. That's very convenient to say, but you got to think about how this stuff has become so systematic that you can't just erase it. You can't just gloss over it and say, "Oh, get over it." You have that liberty if you haven't been through what those who have been oppressed have been through or had to deal with. So it's easy, it's real. And we're going to talk about this later on. It's real easy. And for people that have gone, like G was talking about, the older generation person, you can't get mad at a person who's endured that kind of stuff. Because they can't just turn their emotions off of what they had, and people putting dogs on them and all. You can't just turn that off and say, "Oh, I'm gonna forget about it and move on."
Crosses in the backyard.
Yeah, man, you can't just ignore that stuff and move on. There has to be some type of either reckoning or reconciliation made, and that's what I think has hurt our nation, is because we've not sat down at the table and just as people discuss the injustices. We just tell people get over it and move on.
Yeah,
that's not good enough, man. That's not going to solve the situations.
That's not. It's not. And you know, one thing that I think we've done an awesome job at, you know, in families, like we've had our family reunions, we've had, you know, I was raised on the block with my grandmother, and my grandmother, shoot, I could get a whooping if I did something at a house two doors down. I could get a whooping there, and by the time I got home, I got another whooping, because it was a community. We were raised in a community, and there were people who actually cared about your well-being and being brought up. And that's what Sam, you see Sam goes back after this whole conversation with Isaiah Bradley. He calls his sister. And I love the dynamic between him and his sister. I love that dynamic. It's somebody who normally that's flipped. The son has stayed and built the family business and the home, while the daughter has been off, you know, but it's been flipped. The daughter stayed home and she ran the family business and cared for everything. And the son has been off, you know, saving the world and taking care of everything. And then he was talking to his nephews, you know, and definitely having the conversation about his nephews and his nephews, you know, being the next generation up to speak, like Dane was talking about, like Big G was talking about, the next generation up to speak. And, you know, then Sam and his sister got into a conversation about they couldn't sell the boat because, you know, the boat's too raggedy, and basically, you know, there ain't been no upgrades made to it. And then Sam did what Sam does, and that's use the community, use the people who he knows that actually give a dang, and they and all pitched in and helped, and they start pitching in to help putting things together. And we see the payoff of what Dane was talking about a little bit earlier when he turned around and asked Io for a favor. Now, we have to know that at this point, Bucky, somebody done been to Wakanda. Somebody done been to Wakanda and came back, because here, first and foremost, Bucky picks up this big old motor and sets it off, you know, and then sets down this case, which we're going to see again, but we'll never get to see the contents of this case. But it wasn't so much about the contents of this case in the last scene that we'll talk about. Then you see this whole situation go down between fake Make-A-Wish Cap and Lamar's family. This saddened me. We're gonna unpack this together, you guys. This man, like I said, cares so much about his own pride and who he is that he gotta look good in front of everybody.
Everybody.
You know what I'm saying? He lying to Lamar's parents.
Right in their face.
Right. And something tells me, I don't know if that's his girlfriend or his sister, but something tells me she sees straight through his cockamamie.
Yep.
Yeah.
She sure did. She sure did, bro. She looked at him like, Negro, please. She gave him this look like, you better go on somewhere. I love that. That was a good point, Ahmad. She gave him this look like, man, just get out of here. Because she could just tell you about you. And at the end of the day, you just putting on a show for these people.
Yeah. And it was horrible. It was horrible. What did you think about that? What did you think about that, Big G?
Oh, I agree. I mean, you know, that's the times we live in right now. Think about the people that have been lost due to police violence, police brutality, people getting killed and all whatever else. The family members that are left, that are young, almost was represented by that character. She wasn't trying to hear it. You know, the bottom line, nothing's going to bring my brother back. And my brother followed you based on him trusting you. And I don't trust you at all. I don't trust you at all. So don't even try it. Don't even think about it. You either give some type of closure to my parents, okay? After that, be gone. Because I'm seeking justice for my family. And that's really, I mean, that was like a real live thing. That's happening right now. Happening right now, man. All you got to do is watch the George Floyd trial. Watch the CIS family and all the people is reacting and what they're saying. You know, they took on the persona. You know, so that's why I give real kudos to these Marvel writers, man, because they wasn't scared to tackle a big issue. This issue is real live, upfront, and in our face. And I promise you, if we don't get through it, we're gonna be in trouble. Absolutely. So we got to get through it to become a better place and a better country.
Definitely agree. Definitely agree.
So, you know, after he gives this old fake hug to his mom, I mean, I'm just so disgusted. You know, he disgusts me. He's playing the heck out of his character, and he disgusts me. You know, I just can't even stand to look at him. He goes outside and sees the poster, cap is back, and he gets all, you know, he gets the same face that he had, you know, right here. He wasn't even super soldier.
Hey, I got a name for him. Let's start calling him FPA. Fake Patriot Agent. We're gonna call him FPA. FPA from now on. Fake Patriot Agent. That way it's combined all into everything.
You know
fake cap, U.S. Patriot or whatever, and all combined. FPA.
That thing with him passing that poster, to me, it just reignited his delusion. Because remember, he said it 2 times in the show. I am Captain America. I am. So that seeing that poster, having left their house, knowing he probably felt like a total idiot for what he did, and seeing that poster, because it kind of goes into what we know happens later. But I think that was like his self-delusion going back that I am Captain. Thank you for this reminder. The poster's still hanging. But thank you. I appreciate it. I am Captain America.
It's me. But if you don't set your, if you don't set your $5 self down for I make change, you know what I'm saying? This dude here, man, I'll tell you, he is something else. So you go back and now you're seeing, you know, Sam basically told Bucky to stay, and Sam and Bucky are sitting there and they're talking, and you know, we're just gonna get through a lot of this together. And one of the things, you know, after you saw him bring and set the case down, you know, after he took that whole motor off, he set the case down, and he was talking to him, and Sam told him to stay, and he stayed, and he woke up and he saw the shield, right? And Bucky says something that I really thought was awesome, man. He told him, he said, man, you know, I apologize. He said, man, I'm sorry. He said, he started, and I think that's what he had to work through himself. That's why he was saying nothing to Sam, because, you know, he had to work through it himself to where he can get to the point to where he was basically saying, you know, I put all of my hope, I put all of my feelings inside of, and I entrusted you just like I entrusted, Steve, because he came after me and he saw something in me and he believed in me. And I needed to believe in that thing just so that I could believe in myself. And you know, Sam was just basically telling him it's about time, you know, forget what Steve said about you. You know what I'm saying? You have to start finding who you are, and you have to start believing in who you are. And that apology to Sam meant everything to me, because I really believe that, just like what Dame said earlier, we can't heal as people until there's amends made. And sometimes just an apology, an acknowledgement of what you did wrong, an acknowledgement of saying, hey man, I blew it. I messed up. You know what I'm saying? And definitely I think that changed the dynamic that Bucky and Sam had. And I really think that made Sam embrace who he really is. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
And you know, now this book that he carries, he told him, he said, man, I even carry this book, if it worked for Steve, it should work for me. And Zemo said, "Hey man, I crossed my name out the book." Zemo's a fool. I just want y'all to know, Zemo is a fool, man. Zemo talking about I crossed my name out your little book. First of all, how'd you get his little book, Zemo? But anyway, that's a whole other thing. I just really love this whole thing as we're painting this to a conclusion. I love the apology that was made here. And what you think? What you guys think of that scene and this whole interaction between Sam and Bucky?
Oh man, it was awesome. I saw it as closure. I saw it as closure, and it was awesome to see Bucky. Now think about it. Bucky's response after blaming Sam for not doing what he thought he should have did. He said, "I recognize and did not think about the repercussions of a black man taking on the mantle." So he embraced, he empathized, like you said, Ahmad, he empathized with what Sam was going through. Now, let's reverse this. What if John Walker would have just admitted that he was wrong? His whole situation would have probably been a different story if he would have admitted that he was wrong. And so that's what helps when you can identify with what's going on, when you can unpack that and put it on the table. And that's what I like. But I just love also how Sam gave him that encouragement. Man, be your own dude, bro. At the end of the day, you got to be you. You got to be James Buchanan Barnes. You can't live for me. You can't live for Steve Rogers. You got to find out who you are. And then I love how he said, bringing closure to someone else, which we know is leading up to Mr. Norm, I can't say his last name, Yuri, bringing that closure with Yuri. I think that's what we're going to see probably at the end of next week's episode in the finale. That's just my hypothesis. But no, man, I loved it. Another thing I think was the next scene with his sister. But yeah, that Sam and Bucky bringing that closure, and then we see some more closure in exchange with Sam and his sister. Big G, I'll throw it to you.
Hey, I'm just going to give you a little quick nugget. And I want every person to listen to what I'm going to say, because it's the God's honest truth. The only way that you can ever unpack trauma or drama that happened and occurred in a person's life is ownership and humility. Mm-hmm. Don't ever forget what I just said. Ownership and humility is how you unpop trauma. So that was a scene all about, I'm taking ownership and I'm being humble about it, because we need each other to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, these two guys, I'm looking forward to seeing these two guys' character arcs develop, man, and them become, totally different. One being the White Wolf, one being Captain America. I mean, who knows? You may get Captain America and the White Wolf. I think we've heard that somewhere before.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy.
And maybe that's why we haven't got a nod for an episode 2, because it's not going to be called Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's going to be called, Captain America and the White Wolf. Who knows? So we get back to after that. You have the Flag Smashers making their plan. Did we see Agent Carter do some shiesty stuff?
Man, I told y'all. Marvelous fans, I told them she was Shade Tree. They didn't believe me. I told y'all she was shady.
Oh, we knew she was shady. But we didn't know she was at this level.
Yeah, no, I mean, if she's not shady, bro, she's playing both sides to the kilt.
That's what I think.
Both sides to the kilt. If she's not shady, playing the heck out of both sides. I'm talking about playing heck. I mean, for real, she acting. She's really acting. You know what I'm saying? For real, for real. You got to say it like Jamie Foxx. Acting. She's getting it in.
I don't like that. I just don't like that about her character, because this chick got romantic with Steve Rogers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
But Dave, what if that was a game?
That was a game.
What if that was a game? Man, listen. This lady is shade. If you had a dictionary version of a villain, it would be Sharon Carter talking about. I'm telling you, man.
Peggy needs to come back from the grave and wear her behind out.
Yeah, she's shade tree, man. She's shady.
I don't think Sharon is I just think she's being very deceptive. She's playing both sides, but I don't like the way, like Dave said, I don't like the way she played cavalier with Sam's life like she is. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. But I'm interested to see if the suit is going to be some of this reactive juice that the Black Panther suit had on it, where the absorbed energy. Then of course he ain't gonna need no super serum. He got that suit. You know what I'm saying?
Nanotech.
Yeah, that's gonna be for real. So the Flag Smashers, they talk about their plan and how and Zemo said, well, actually Sam said it. He said, man, I think Carly's gonna double down. You know what I'm saying? I think she's gonna double down. And at this point, she's gonna get stronger because of the simple fact that now, she trusted Sam, and all of this happened. But she should know that Sam ain't the enemy. Sam's not the villain. Trying to help you. But the way that Agent Carter kind of threw Sam out there kind of really upset me. But last little piece, we have this whole thing goes down, and it was almost like a homage to Hydra, one world, one vision. They would be in Hail Hydra. They would say that before they did something. Yeah. Hail Hydra. And
one world, one people.
Yeah, one world, one people.
Have you noticed everybody who's like supposed to be evil, they have that same line. Even the global recreation. What you say, Dame? The global
repatriation council.
They follow that same line.
Yeah,
that same line, man. So there's some depth to some of this stuff.
It is, man. And then the last scene we see was old crazy boy. You know what I'm saying? Old crazy Make-A-Wish captain over here with his little old medals. You know what I'm saying? And he feeling like you got to make him a new toy. Now, what gets me is bro,
stupid.
Do you not understand that what I have is of a different metal? This thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. You sitting there looking like Tony Stark hammering on this metal, and the shield that you trying to go up against is made out of vibranium. That stuff gonna get crazy, man. But once again, he's delusional. He's stupid. He think that my shield is gonna beat. Now, I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. He putting his Medal of Honor thing into the. I'm like, man.
He bedazzling the thing. No, he's don't bedazzle the shield, bro. You're bedazzling the shield.
So listen to this. The last scene, if you stayed to the end credits and end game, you heard the iron pounding. And everybody said that was supposed to be a throwback to Tony Stark. There's no way that was. Like I said, Feige them don't waste nothing. That pounding was the birth of the new anti-hero, which is the U.S. agent. Because I went back and I played the tracks on top of each other. They are the exact same. They are the exact same. So that was the birth of the new anti-hero. Because remember, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be in the first show. Remember, it was the first thing we were supposed to saw up on the end of the end game. So you got to do pounding.
The Marvel gospel according to Big G.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you.
I love it. Hey, man, I love it. I love it, bro. I love it. I love it.
I'm a rabbit hole. I will jump in the rabbit hole like they know. Listen, I go down the rabbit hole with no parachute. I'm out. I'm dropping.
One thing I want to circle back to, and me and Ahmad were having this conversation earlier. One thing that really I loved about the exchange that Sam had with his sister, they were talking about the history of their family and not getting rid of the boat, knowing that he just talked with Isaiah about history. And one thing I love that Sam said, that I'm not going to let the past dictate the fact that I'm going to finish the fight. Yeah. And I love that, man, because that's the mindset I think we have to have, is we can't dwell on the things as bad as they might have been. We got to pick up the mantle of our past generations and make them, dude, I was just reading the scripture today talking about the cloud of witnesses. that's looking down on us that are alive. And then I'm bringing the Bible into it, but that's so equating to what we saw in that scene is that Sam said, you know what? And I bet he had some really good parents. We see that because we see the way they are as people. They give into the community knows them. And so we see from that scene, Sam saying, you know what? I understand and I empathize with what Mr. Bradley went through, but I am a person that's going to continue to fight. And we see that with him finally embracing what Steve Rogers saw in him. Steve Rogers didn't see black. Steve Rogers didn't see white. Steve Rogers saw character. And he rewarded that character. And so Sam is rising up to that occasion, man. And I was hyped with the training. You know, AC Amadi didn't need the super soldier serum, man. He was training.
Hey, when he did that double flip and caught that bad baby, boy. Oh man, I stood straight up. I stood straight up like I was in church. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's it. Go on, Sam. Go on, Sam. I mean, I woke the whole house up. My daughter came out and said, who is Sam? Who is Sam? Yeah. Go on, Sam. You know, I was hyped, man.
The thing about that is that, you know, while he was training, and we'll close on this, while he was training, he was running and he left room for his friend. And I won't forget you. You know what I'm saying? And the directors and everyone, you know, if you're shooting somebody running, it's just film 101. You center the scene. They didn't center the scene. They had Sam running on his right-hand side. Why?
So Cap is on his left.
You're on my left. I'm on your left.
I'm on your left. On your left. On your left. And it's a homage for his friend. I'm going to be me. I'm going to run my own lane, but I always carry you with me to the left. And that's something that Dame is just really saying is, look, we're looking towards the future. We're honoring the past, but we're taking both of them into a new era, and we're going to make it what it should be. We're going to make it right. We're going to do something other than what we see. And that, to me, you guys, is the foundation of this episode 5 called Truth. And that's really truth. Embracing what was, realizing, putting it in perspective for what is, and saying, you know, what we can be is better. You know, if we take both elements in and we move towards that future. So with that, you guys, man, you've been with us another hour for Marvelous Talking. Man, we thank you for hanging out with us. Definitely, if this is a program that you love, please do us a favor. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share it with everybody that you know. Let your peoples and your auntie and them, TT and them, will be definitely glad they able to listen and you check this program out. And as always, man, your boy Mod.
Big G.
That was your cue, Big G. You kind of lost it.
Dang, signing off. I can't wait to see that suit next week, baby.
And I see the suit. And you know.